Hi there, I am Hannah Hembree Bell, founding attorney at Hembree Bell Law. And one question we get very early on in the divorce process from people just like you is what's going to happen with the house? And that question is so important. I understand why it's the main one on people's hearts after we've talked about their kids, if they've got any little kids. And that's because oftentimes the house is the biggest asset that a couple has. Also, it's where you put your head to sleep every night. So your first questions, if we think about Maslow's hierarchy, right? We're going to be looking down at this bottom of the pyramid is where am I going to sleep? So that's why it's a really important question. And I'm glad that, if this video can help you think through a little bit how that's going to work so that you have a little less fear around that question, because that's really what we're afraid of, is a lack of information. That's at least what I found when I was getting divorced. Is I felt so often I had no idea what's going on. So let's think a little bit about how a home sale works in divorce, so you have the information to make decisions for you and your family that are best for what's going on in your life. So if you purchased your home during the marriage in Texas, that makes it a community property asset, or at least presumed. And that's kind of like assumed to be a community asset. Okay, so you bought the house during the marriage and you used funds that are community funds, like from your paycheck or something. And so both of y'all own that house in 50-50 shares, in equal shares. So it's like, okay, what are we going to do? And it kind of depends. Does everybody want the house? Does one person want the house? But at the end of the day, we got to get to asking some practical questions. So in an ideal world, you have plenty of money in all your bank accounts and your retirement accounts and your 401ks, and one person gets the house, and the amount of equity you've built up in that house can get paid, like your share can get paid from some other asset. We call it like satisfied from another asset. Now, then it's just a matter of, oh, I'll keep the house. You can keep the other house that's in, at the lake or whatever. That happens sometimes. There's plenty to go around, and it's just a matter of shuffling assets and numbers on a spreadsheet. Now, for a lot of the rest of us, that's not the case, especially with the way housing prices and the markets have gone the last couple of years. Oftentimes, the largest amount of cash available to a couple is in the equity in their home. Like, you may have bought it 10 years ago for $250 and it's now worth $750 in this day and age in this market. So you've got $550, you've got to split. You may not have enough other assets to satisfy, the $225 each, right? So if it's $550, you're both entitled to $225 of that. That's really probably who's asking this question, is what are we going to do? So there's not enough assets to satisfy it. So then the next option that's available to you would be one person keeps it, refinances it for the $225 they need to pay you, and then they pay you the money to satisfy. So there's a refinance option for one person to keep, refi to get the money out, and then pay you. Now, look, right now, your X factor, they're not going to want to do that. Your spouse that you're divorcing, they're not going to want to do that because interest rates are higher. That used to be a really available, easy option when interest rates were 2 or 3%. They're not like that, at least as of the time I'm recording this video. So that one can be tougher. There's a lot of resistance to refinancing right now. So I don't know that that's as accessible as it once was. You also have to think about credit worthiness. Will they qualify for the mortgage? Do they make enough money to make the payment? So ideally, satisfaction from some other asset. Next, refinance with one person keeping it. That's also not going to work if both of you are like, I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. I want to keep it. I love this house. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into redoing the bathroom, whatever. That's not going to work for you. The next option would be a sale and split. Okay, fine. Nobody gets it. We're going to sell it. We're going to list it with some rules about how that's going to work. Even in the middle of the divorce, this happens sometimes. If you agree, look, we got to sell this thing to get access to some cash. We list it, we sell it, and we pay all the fees and everything, and then we split what's there. That can happen during a divorce with the agreement of the other party and the other lawyer. Or like, say you go to mediation or a final trial. The mediation, you might agree that that's what we're going to do. In final trial, the judge can order that to happen. Hopefully you're not at final trial learning that. It's better, generally speaking, to make some kind of a deal that does that on the front end, but then you've got to agree about who's the realtor going to be, how are the terms going to work, and all of that. So selling your home is an enormous part of the divorce process. It's scary. It triggers a lot of fears for a lot of people. And it also triggers like a control aspect. People want to have the say in what happens with their home. So know that going in, work with your legal team. And if you're joining us at the firm, we'll help you think this through of keeping the main thing in light of your overall objectives. We can help you assess whether satisfaction, refinance, sell and split, or maybe some other creative solution is the right avenue for you and your family.